and welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. I'm your host, Heidi Mark, and as a self-proclaimed ambassador for ease, my mission is to bring you more ease into your life, getting you out of the horrid fog of overwhelm and living the life you always meant to. Are you stuck in, I just need to get through? If I just get through this day, this hour, this week, this appointment, this meeting, this coffee, if I just get through this month, this year, when my children leave home, when so-and-so leaves work, if I just get through, when we move house, when I find that perfect person, when my divorce comes through, when I have a baby, when, if, after. It's all in the future. But you're becoming increasingly frustrated. You're starting to realise you've been stuck in this when, if, just get through, just get this done. It's been going on too long. You really want your life back. You work hard, you're a nice person, you don't quite understand why life is this hard. Is this how it's supposed to be? This is not the life you intended to live, and yet you've worked hard for everything. You're really fortunate, you have so much to be grateful for. You don't want to complain, you don't want to make a fuss, but you're becoming increasingly tired. It's becoming increasingly difficult to just get through. And part of you has just had enough of just getting through. A part of you that you don't really dare listen to most of the time, would quite like to just run away for a little bit. Run away and just sit quietly on your own, maybe at the beach. Part of you dreams of maybe getting a camper van and disappearing for a little while, even though actually you know you'd come back because there are things about your life that you love. You don't actually want to make huge changes. You couldn't cope with huge changes right now anyway. You're too overwhelmed, you're too exhausted, and you don't really know what would work. You've tried things before. You've moved jobs, you've moved relationships, You've had those children that you longed for, but something's still not right. Everything just feels too hard. Really, does life have to be this difficult? Life should be more fun, shouldn't it? This is not what being grown up was supposed to be about. Getting through. Well, yeah, I think a lot of us feel like that. I think this is a really common thing to happen. And I'm really interested in how we shift this in the easiest possible way. So I wish I'd done things in an easier way. I tried so many things. You know, my degree is psychology. I know stuff, and I moved on to studying positive psychology because normal psychology tends to deal with weird stuff and terrible stuff and negative stuff, whereas positive psychology looks at how we can flourish and thrive. So this new psychology offered all this promise, and it is promising and it's brilliant and I love it, but it wasn't enough for me, because by that stage in my life I was so good at Googling information, at reading all the books. My brain was just overloaded with information. I didn't need more information. What I needed was to get out of my head. My mind, my brilliant mind, was leading me astray. It was telling me that it had the answers. It was warning me of everything terrible that would happen if I didn't do more things, if I wasn't better at running my life. My life would disappear, it would pass by. And I was in my 40s, and you know, you're in your 40s and you're heading towards your 50s. We're always heading towards something, that when, if, that over there promise. And I've always been somebody who is desperate to live a full life, who wants to make the most of every day. And I don't like wasting time. I never understand that need to waste time, to kill time. Why would you kill time? You're just killing yourself. You're killing life. Life is precious. I don't really understand boredom, because there's so much opportunity. There's so many interesting things. There's so much beauty around. There's just so much I want to do. And I just felt like I was running out of time. And I was confused because I'd worked hard. I'd finished my degree late in life. I'd done really, really well. My children were starting to become independent and leave home and be successful in their own right. Yes, they still needed me, but I was getting more space. I'd finally met a man who was really good for me, the man of my dreams, in fact. I was really, really fortunate. I had so much to be grateful for. And yet I managed to make myself really sick and to burn out and to lose part of that amazing life I'd created for myself. And that then created wild repercussions, because when you get really sick, when you, in my case, quit my job, when we do big changes, when we make huge changes, there are repercussions which then come like a wave back at you, and you have to deal with that then. What I've found since is there are tiny things you can do. And that's what I'm really interested in sharing with you. So out of my storm, out of my long search for a way of living that was in alignment with who I am, that accepted who I am, that my life changes all the time. So I was searching for one answer or a series of answers that logically made sense and fitted in. So I looked at what other people did, which is great. It's a really good place to start. But what I didn't take into account was myself. So for me, getting out of that, just getting through, starts with paying attention to who you are, what's going on for you. Because we're all unique. Yes, there's huge similarities, but starting with who you are, your uniqueness, and also the season of your life. So, when I was younger, I wanted to go to bed later and get up later. Now I'm older, I want to go to bed earlier and get up earlier. So therefore, things like the 5 a.m. club, which is brilliant for some people, you get up early, you do some exercise, or you do some journaling, do some meditation, whatever. That can work brilliant for some people at some point in their life. But if everyone else who wants those results, wants that greater clarity, energy, productivity, feeling more in tune with themselves, that's some of the things that can happen from that kind of commitment. For people who want that, but that's not appropriate for them, that's unhelpful, because it's not that there's one thing. So there's lots of solutions. But and I searched for lots of solutions, and I tried loads and loads out, which is brilliant now because it makes me perfect for doing the work I do now, which is helping people move from that state, finding their ease, feeling at home in themselves, so that they can then start making the adjustments they need to make their life work for them. So I'm grateful for all my crazy trying stuff out and messing up, and I'm even grateful for my burnout and my illness and the painful way the humiliating way I left my brilliant career. That's okay now, because part of it is, in fact, the journey is this deep self-acceptance. So now I accept that that's what I did, that's what happened, and I can share with you my nuggets of gold, so you don't have to do that. That's what I want for you. So instead of having a public breakdown, have tiny little breakthroughs in private, because that's what you want, right? You don't want a big public breakdown. You want to sort this stuff out for yourself. You're dependable. You don't want to let people down. You're conscientious. You're always there for people. And the idea of, one day being too exhausted to turn out for work, or not being able to support somebody emotionally, the idea of not being who you pride yourself on being is just too painful. So you keep going, you push down any niggling fear of not being able to cope. You shove those tears back down if they're leaking at inappropriate times, because you don't want to be that person who cries in public. That's just who you are, and that's okay. I completely respect that. I don't think you have to I don't think this is about changing. This isn't about changing who you are. And I'm still like that. So I still don't want to be the person. I mean, I do cry quite often, actually, which is quite funny, isn't it? Because I don't want to be the person who breaks down in public. But my partner would say, oh, I'm always crying. He doesn't mean I'm always crying as in I'm always breaking down. I'm a highly sensitive person. So I cry at beauty. That's what's funny. So like he'll give me a card with a little quote in it, which is absolutely perfect for me. And I cry. He gives me Christmas presents and I cry. We were in the New Forest and we met this beautiful young foal and I cried because it was beautiful. That's just part of who I am. But what I'm talking about is I don't want to be that person who breaks down in public. I was in the end, and that was really, really painful for me. And it took me a lot of digging deep and forgiving myself and dealing with the grief of a more public breakdown. I mean, I thought it was public. I don't know how many people noticed around me. I think that's that deep sensitivity to my surroundings. I'm a private person. If you're a private person, you want a private solution. I wish that I had known this stuff before. If somebody had given me my stuff, and I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, if somebody had given me the course I've written, which is an online course which takes you through my process, or step one of the process, neutral noticing, it takes you through that gently but firmly, helping you practice that, really, really examine all the layers and complexities, but really easily. It doesn't overwhelm you with information. It just helps you do it. It helps you practice every day just for a few minutes. If somebody had given me that solution, man, that's what I was looking for. But that's our journey, hey, that we all have something to give and to learn and to create and to help other people with. And this is mine. So yes, I wish I'd had that, but I didn't, because it didn't exist, or I didn't know of it. So now my job is to let you know it exists. And I've had a lot of resistance to this because it's quite difficult to say, actually, what I've created is really good. It's helping lots of people and I'm getting really good feedback and they're getting exactly the transformation. In fact, they're getting more than they wanted. And I'm blown away by how what I've created out of my experience, out of my knowledge, out of what I've been taught and used, I'm blown away by what's happening. So this episode is dedicated to really starting to share that a bit more. So this is me upping my courage, stepping up and saying, I have something, I have a gift, I have something to offer you that can help you. So even if you don't feel that you want this at the moment, listen up, because there's going to be somebody you know who needs this. They're going to be quietly screaming inside, getting more and more tired, more frustrated, more fed up. And they matter because, well, everybody matters, but these women, and it is women that I'm talking about in this case. Now, this podcast is not just for women, but I do work with men. I have, men do my course, and my coaching is there for men and women. So it's just that I feel deeply called to serve women in my membership. So you might know somebody who's really quiet and conscientious. They're always there. They look like they're holding it all together. Most people would have no idea that actually they're really struggling, but you might have noticed if some people are paying attention and are sensitive enough to notice. And you might think, actually, yeah, this person's amazing. They're a real leader. They're a real high achiever. But actually, they need something they can do on their own. And this is what's important. For some of us, we just want something we can do in private at home, a solution that we can make our own. We don't want to do something, I don't know, that kind of, that's where we want to start. We want something that's empowering for us, I guess, that we can do privately. And this, and my course and my method as well, which I've taught on this podcast in little snippets, and I'm at the moment creating something that you can use. You can just sign up for a free thing and just use and experiment with that for yourself. It's perfect for just empowering you to tune into your own strength, your own wisdom, and listen. That's what it's for. So I don't have the answers you seek. If you're stuck in that just getting through, and firstly, you can't stay doing that, because it feels like something's going to break. And often it feels like you're secretly surfing a verge of breakdown. You're not going to break. There isn't really a verge, but while you're on it, there is, because it feels like it. It feels almost like vertigo. It feels like if I don't just get through, if I show any kind of weakness, if I, if I just admit even to myself how much I'm struggling, then everything will come crashing down. If it feels like that, then this is definitely for you. It's also for people who are, I'm just fed up with it. So there's two things, probably more than that, but I'm just going to highlight two things. So the getting stuck in the just getting through cycle, once you start to realise that that's where you are, and it can take quite a long time to realise that, because life is messy, life changes. So and a holiday or a good night's sleep can really improve things temporarily, but after a while you might realise, you know what, I've been in this weird just getting through state for a while, and this is not what I intended for my life, and I want more. So firstly, yes, you might realise you need urgently to find a solution, because you feel like you're going to break. You feel like, the straw, one more thing, and everything would come crashing down. And you love bits of your life. It doesn't work for you, but there are bits of it you really don't want to lose. Then that becomes very urgent, doesn't it? And that's where I'd really recommend that you today go download my freebie and introduce the method that I'm going to talk to you about in more detail in a moment into your life, and just see if it works for you. I think it will. I have huge faith in it. I do think there's something different for everyone, but that's why I offer a freebie, so you can test it out and see. And if you've liked my podcast so far, then give it a go. Secondly, there's the people who are going, I'm really fed up with this. It's almost like a screaming inside silent anger. It's a deep frustration. This is not my life. And the reason you want to do something is because you might create wild repercussions by trying to make a huge change because you're just utterly fed up. And actually, often the huge change isn't the answer. It might be the answer, but unless you are really tuning in and listening first, it could be the wrong move. So I'll explain further. So my method is a 3-step process. Now, when I say a 3-step process, nothing in life is really linear, is it? Everything spirals, so it just goes deeper and deeper. But step 1 is to tune in and listen. And this is through my neutral noticing method that I've created, which I'll explain a bit more about in a moment. Step 2 is to start to embed that into your life. And I make this as easy as possible. I'm all about making it really, really easy, so that you start to move from just getting through and not really having time to notice how you feel, or not daring to start to. So in step 1, you start to dare to listen, to notice what's going on in your body, what's going on in your heart, just how crazy busy your mind is, just to really tune in, to go inwards, because all great changes come from inner work. That's what I mean. You might need to make a huge change. I don't know, but you probably don't know at the moment either. So I'll give you an example of this for me. I knew I needed to make a change. In fact, I'd say most of the time that I was struggling with how to find a way to make my new career and my new life of having a career work for me, during that time, I'd often felt that I needed to do things differently. So quite early on in my teaching career, I'd dropped a day a fortnight because I wanted to write, because it just felt like work took too much and I was going to take some back. So for me, my choice was take a pay cut in order to follow another of my dreams. And I thought that would work. And it kind of did, actually, in some ways, but you know, then things go in cycles, and then in the end it wasn't. But for me, I was always looking, I got stuck in black and white, and I think this is quite common. When we get stuck in our heads, when we're trying to make huge decisions without being connected to our heart, our gut, our bodies, all of those things, like I feel it in my bones. My heart was full. My heart felt empty. My guts were churning. I felt it. You know, my skin, goosebumps, you know, all of these things are very physical, and they're very, very useful, but culturally we don't choose to trust them. And we need to start trusting them again, because this information from the body is really, really valuable. But I got very stuck in my head and I was deliberately ignoring the rest of me, because that's what I'd learned, and because I'm a deep thinker and I love information. I eat information for breakfast, and, you know, I'd studied, so I had all this information, so I wanted to use it. So I thought, I got stuck into that black and white thinking of, is this the right career for me, or do I need another one? And when we get stuck in that black and white thinking, we get stuck going round and round, because there's actually a million other possibilities. So I tried to think of the other possibilities. So I tried part-time, and then I tried, you know, compartmentalizing work, scheduling everything other than work, so that I could reconnect with that part of me that used to know how to have fun. You know, I booked really good things like going to see elephants in Thailand. You know, it's not that I didn't do the other things. It's just that work and life, you know, life admin is overwhelming enough, isn't it? You know, all of the things that I needed to do to maintain the life I'd created for myself were taking too much. It was just exhausting, and it was really frustrating, because actually I was earning more money, but I didn't really have the energy to have as much fun, or actually the money was already direct debited out. So it was like, what am I doing? I'm just working really hard, and this is not what I meant to do. This is not why I sacrificed fun in the years when I finished my degree while working. You know, that wasn't the point. The point wasn't to end up stuck in that mode of sacrifice. The point was to have a better life, and this just wasn't true. It was just all a lie. But I wasn't going to give it up. I wanted to make it work, so I tried all the things, you know, the productivity hacks, the eating better, the sleeping better, all of the things that I could Google or get from my knowledge. And this includes, interestingly enough, meditation and mindfulness. So you might think, well, this doesn't make any sense. If she already knew all this stuff, why was it not working? And I would just say, quite simply, it wasn't working because I wasn't listening to myself. I was doing. And I wouldn't say it wasn't working at all. I wouldn't say that a meditation practice doesn't help. But when you get very, very exhausted, as I did, when do you fit in the meditation? Because the problem with a sitting meditation for me, yes, I wanted to start my day in a sitting meditation, but that meant getting up earlier. And I remember in the winter, it's not so bad in the summer, but in the winter I'd be so exhausted that, you know, rolling out of bed to sit on a cushion was just, it really wasn't what I needed. And it also wasn't working because I was actually still asleep. Now, this might work for you. It's not a criticism. Whatever works for you, if you already have something that works, you do that. But this didn't work for me at that point in my life. It was not what I needed. And that's good, because that means I understand what it's like if that's you. I understand what it's like if you hear about people who get up at 5 a.m. and you know, go for a run, do yoga and meditation, and then just rock their day. And yet you want what they have. You want that energy. You want that excitement and love of life. You want that presence and that focus and that greater productivity. But getting up at 5 a.m. to do that, yeah, that's not happening. That If there's one thing that's going to break you, less sleep will be it. More pressure, another thing to achieve, another thing to be good at, another thing to add to your damn to-do list. It's not for you. That's okay. Stop judging yourself. Be on your own side. So where was I? Yeah, so I think we'll just go straight into what works for me now, what I learned, and how I can help you. So for me, yeah, what I did do is I did set my business up and retrain before I ended up in the humiliating situation where I quit my job and lost my career. So that was good. So at least I'd done that. That was really, really good. But actually, in a way, that exacerbated it, because now I knew I had seen and felt and I had the possibility of living in a aligned way. You know, I'd retrained with a Zen master. That's gonna change your life. And if you haven't checked out episode 25 with my interview with a Zen master, please do that, but not now. Stick around. So what happened was, I had tuned into my body. I was meditating and doing a lot of yoga because that's the path I had chosen. And I knew by now that I was on the way out of my career. So I had a plan. You think, well, this is great, Heidi. This is going to go really well. You've got a plan. You've listened. You're on it. And it just exploded because I went from a place of being aligned, of having time and energy to tune in and listen, to in the first day in my new school, which was supposed to be an amazing school, I spent 8 hours being talked at, felt literally completely stuck in my head, overwhelmed and exhausted, had no idea what I was doing. And I came home and just cried because I was so tuned in by then that I knew I was not prepared to sacrifice my health to earn that money. Now, this is difficult because you can't. I suppose I could have just gone, that's it. I know. If I'd really listened at that point, I'd have gone, this isn't for me. I will do anything other than that to earn money. But I didn't, because I'm conscientious and because I had this plan. Work part-time, set up my business. But the two things were opposite. So for me, that didn't work. And I'm grateful now, even though it was so painful. It was so horrible. It was such a difficult time and so sad. But that's okay. Because what it's done is made me realise I thought I needed to do, in my head, I wanted to do an hour of sitting meditation and an hour of yoga every single day. That's what I wanted, because that was my practice at that stage and that's what I thought I needed, but it didn't fit in. And then I felt conflicted, deeply conflicted. But actually what I found is when I did quit my job, and by then I had made myself very, very ill, I was very burnt out and exhausted. I was like, yeah, brilliant. Right. So now I'm going to get up early and do my practice because this is what I've been missing. And I remember one of the first days I got out of bed early, rolled out my mat, thinking, brilliant, new life, lay down on my mat, tuned in, and the exhaustion was overpowering. But this time I was listening. I got off my yoga mat and went back to bed. And you can think, well, that's not very good. That's not good discipline. You shouldn't have done that. Or you can realise it's not the yoga. It's not the meditation. It's not the practice of mindfulness. It's the deep listening with love and compassion and acceptance for yourself. That's what it's about. Why do we meditate? We meditate because our minds need taming. Our minds point out everything that's wrong to save our life, to keep us safe. That's the evolutionary advantage. The disadvantages of that is it makes you miserable. Knowing this, understanding this is huge. and then practicing noticing the mind, noticing whether it's busy, whether it's in a loop of doom, whether it's time traveling, whatever it's up to, and then just respectfully choosing not to place your attention there. That's what meditation does. That's the gift, that discipline. Over and over again, returning the attention to the body. That's mindfulness meditation, returning the attention to the breath. There are other forms of meditation. There's lots of forms of meditation, whatever works for you. This is what I practice. But now what happened was, because I'd reached this state of utter exhaustion, and sitting on a cushion even for 25 minutes just became a real struggle. And what was interesting is my body was screaming at me to get off the cushion. And I find this really, really interesting, because my training was sit on the cushion. And, this is the answer. This will support your life in living more skillfully. But my body was screaming, get off the cushion. So eventually I listened and I got off the cushion. And then I started, I don't quite know how it happened. It was very gradual. I started just kind of condensing it. So what is it? And it's the tuning in, it's the listening to my body. And that's because my journey, and this is why I'm so grateful for it, my journey was about listening to my body, because it was my body that I had ignored the signals from. So I hadn't, the sadness and grief, the deep sadness in my heart of missing out on things that I wanted to be part of, because that's the only way I could get through my working day. Not seeing friends, the damage to friendships, to relationships, the lack of ability to switch off, and how much damage that did. The amount of weeks I went without one decent night's sleep, because that's just how my mind reacted to the stresses of teaching. I know I'm not alone with that. I don't know many teachers who sleep during term time, but because I was only a teacher for a decade, I know that it's not just teaching. It's, so many people are awake at 4 a.m. and I don't mean to get up and go for a run. I mean that they haven't really slept. Yeah, it's very sad, because there's nothing like a good night's sleep, to restore your sanity and make you grateful for being alive. But we're struggling to sleep. We're struggling with a lot of things to do with how we've set our lives up, and it's time to evolve. It's time to say, right, I have a brilliant mind, but it's a bit negative. I'm not going to pay so much attention to it. It's having that knowledge. And then another really important aspect of a long-lasting meditation practice is the discipline, because that's really important and you can't get away from that. Yes, my method is easier in that it fits into your day, but you can't get away from the need for discipline, because if you're not going to show up for yourself every day, and I have distilled this into a 1-minute practice, if you're not going to do that practice, then that's not going to work, is it? So you have to have the discipline. You have to say, I'm making this commitment to myself. I want more from my life. I'm worth it. And part of the reason why people don't even turn up for a 1-minute session is the same as why you wouldn't get up and sit on a cushion. It's the same stuff. It's the same resistance to change. It's the same lack of self-love and self-acceptance that this is the kind of self-care you need right now. There's all sorts of things, but you can't get away from the benefits of the discipline of turning up to practice, the commitment to yourself, and also to the discipline within the practice. The discipline within the practice is the same. Notice the mind, move the attention away. This time we're moving the attention to the body. And the reason I choose the body is, as I've said, my journey was through damaging my body, ignoring my body, and then healing through tuning into my body. So that's also how I was taught in my Zen Yoga teacher training. There was a lot of embodiment work. There was a lot of tuning into the body, very deeply, and that I'm really, really grateful for that. So yes, that's my method, but you've still got to do the turning up. You've still got to make the commitment. You've still got to want it. You've still got to want to dare. Actually, it's an act of rebellion. It's more than wanting things to be better. It's saying, yes, I want things to be better, and I'm going to dare. I'm going to dare to allow the possibility that they can be. And this is the possibility for you. Imagine moving through your day, naturally tuning in and listening to your body and acknowledging that, and being tuned in to the wisdom that gives you. So on a basic level, when you're thirsty, you would drink. When you're hungry, you would eat nourishing food. When you need to move, you would move. If you schedule exercise for fun, that's a separate thing. But you would be looking after yourself. You would just notice what you need and you would naturally do it. So it didn't add to your to-do list and you weren't depleting your health and your energy by ignoring your basic needs. That's a very basic level. On another level, you've got that really connecting with your heart, with your gut, with that feeling in your body. Yes, this excites me. No, that's not for me. And starting to live in a way that is true for you. Because we are all different and we need different things at different times, and we get stuck in our head going, well, I don't know what to do, but your body does. And this is why you're feeling lost and frustrated and exhausted, because it's like you're just firing on one cylinder. Yes, the mind's brilliant and it can do loads of stuff. It can Google all sorts of answers, but without that connection to yourself, to your heart, what your heart longs for, without that connection to your body, that deep self-care and respect for yourself and your body and looking after your health, because you only have one body, and we often treat the body as if it's replaceable. I can get another one. I'm going to pour crap into it. I'm going to not let it renew. Sleep is so important. And yet there's this badge of honor about going without sleep. What's that about? You are not a robot. And do you know what? Machines break. Machines need an engineer. Why would you not think that your body, which is really complex, would not need rest and care? Seriously, what are we doing to ourselves? Be on your own side. Look after your body. You do not get another one. It is difficult to heal. It's much easier to prevent than to heal. So there's the tuning in and looking after yourself, your health, your body. Then there's the tuning into how you really feel. And once you get really tuned in, once it's just become habitual, you don't need my audios anymore, but you might use them because they're nice. A lot of people use them because it's just nice. But it's become embedded, it's become habitual. It's like cleaning your teeth. You just do it. In fact, it's more than that, because it's not an add-on. It's a within. So if we take the cleaning your teeth, every day you clean your teeth, and if you don't clean your teeth, it feels weird. Well, imagine if every time you cleaned your teeth, you were completely aware of the sensation of cleaning your teeth. Every time you have a shower, you're completely aware of the sensation of having a shower. You're really enjoying it, because let's be serious, a shower is an amazing thing and it feels wonderful and it's in your home, and celebrate that. If you could feel that every day, that's joy. You haven't even gone to work yet. You haven't really even got up yet. You've felt the toothbrush on your teeth and you're grateful for your teeth. You've felt the water on your body and you're grateful for your shower and your body. This is a great way to live, and this doesn't require any time. And it also, it's meditative. It's mindful meditation in the body all the time. Now, you're not going to do it. I don't do it all the time, but most of the time I do. And if I get stuck in my head, which I do, particularly when I'm, writing or creating stuff, which is more mind-based activity, then I will notice very quickly if I'm out of sorts. And then I can tune in and notice, oh, my body needs to move, or I need something to eat, or I just need to go outside and gaze at something beautiful. Living from that tuned in place becomes habitual, becomes easier. And then you are living not only with a brilliant, amazing human brain, but you've also got your connection to your body. And you're connected to the earth. You feel at ease. You feel at home in your body. You feel strong and stable. You have this quiet presence that allows you to respond rather than react. It allows you to live skillfully in a way that works for you. So you stop just getting through, pushing, fighting, draining your energy, wrecking your health and relationships, and forgetting how to have fun. You move from that to waking up in the morning with gratitude for a new day. Because let's face it, every day is a miracle. Every day you wake up is to be celebrated. Hooray, I'm awake. Even if you didn't sleep very well. Like I didn't sleep very well last night. Don't quite know why. Doesn't really matter. Because it just is how it is. So there's a lot of acceptance. This is how I am today. I'm a little bit tired, a little bit of a headache. But it's still a whole new day, hey? It's still exciting. It's still something to be celebrated. And I know I can cope with today. Whereas previously, the old version of Heidi, who was running mainly on getting stuck in my brilliant mind and pushing away any sensations from my body because I didn't want to know how tired I was. I didn't want to cope with another physical ailment or pain or niggle that had to be dealt with and would require appointments to see people. And I was just fed up with it. I just wanted to be well and healthy and have fun and be me. I wanted to feel like me again. And I really didn't feel like myself. And I look back and think, yeah, that doesn't even look like me in photos. Whereas now, it's like, I'm back and I've remembered all the bits of me that nobody told me that you could navigate life with. Why did nobody tell me this stuff? That actually listening to my heart matters, that there's a huge amount of information and guidance there. We're told to not listen to our hearts. It's like it's whimsical. What nonsense. Our hearts are incredible, and there's more and more research coming out of the Heart Math Institute about this, and Joe Dispenza and all sorts, loads of people are talking about this now. What's going on in your heart matters hugely. Listen to your heart, tune into your heart, but you've also got your whole body. And that if you're getting a feeling in your bones, if you're getting an unease, if you're getting joy, if you're getting an expansive feeling, if you're getting energy, goosebumps, listen to it. Just be curious. Do it playfully. Have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously, but do it. Take it seriously as in commit to it. Listen. Don't take it too seriously as in don't get stuck in your head again, analysing, judging, wondering. You don't need to. Just listen. I dare you. Tune in. Listen to your body. What's it telling you? Be curious. Just notice. When you first start doing this, just notice. That's why neutral noticing, my main method, which underpins everything I do, is so brilliant because it's neutral. So all the time we feel like we have to respond. We don't have to respond all the time. So I look back and my resistance, and sometimes even, I'll catch myself resisting tuning in my days now. Of course I do. I'm human. And it will be because I don't want to know. I don't want to acknowledge that I'm tired or I'm anxious about something, or I just don't want to know. I just want to get on. I just want to get stuff done because that's a default pattern. We want to live well. We want to get stuff done. We want to feel safe. We want everything to be predictable and ordered. We don't like unease. We don't like discomfort. We don't want it. So we get stuff done in order to get rid of those uncomfortable feelings. That's normal. That's okay. That's human. But there's a whole lot more joy out there than just getting stuff done. So neutral noticing is really good because it takes away the need to react to everything. It's just noticing. To start with, it's just noticing. Because that's easiest. I'm all about making it easy. So yeah, step one of my process is neutral noticing, this tuning in, listening, feeling your feet on the ground, allowing your belly to soften if it wants to. And if it doesn't, that's okay. So it's not purposely softening the belly. It's not purposely grounding yourself. It's not purposely allowing yourself to relax. It's not purposely making the mind silent. There is no doing anything. It's not doing. It's just quite simply noticing, really, really neutrally. And neutral is so important because it combats this need to strive to make things better, this tendency of the mind to judge everything and categorize everything and push you to improve all the time. It's not that we don't want to improve, it's that it's kind of it is exactly turning on reverse. It's not that you can't be better, it's that you already are better, but it's underneath all the junk. So instead of pushing yourself to improve, we let go of the stuff that doesn't serve us. And the stuff that doesn't serve us is the judging mind, that inner critique that holds us back and gets us playing safe because it's small, gets us playing small because it's safe. That not daring to listen to our heart because it's dangerous. All of these things. We have so many habits that don't serve us, from basic things like not drinking when you're thirsty, not moving when your body needs to move, not gazing away from a screen and getting outside, or not being present with somebody when they're talking, having our phone on when we're eating, not tasting our food. That there's some really basic, easy habits that we can let go of to start with. And once we get into the habit of letting go of stuff that doesn't work for us, our life naturally improves and moves towards stage 3, which stage 3 of my process is starting to create a life that works for you. That's going to happen from the beginning. Stage 1 is practicing neutral noticing, tuning in regularly for 1 minute or 4 minutes or 20 minutes, depending on which of my audios you choose to use or how you use it for yourself. Tuning in and listening, it starts with this. And then we start to make it habitual, which takes time. So we make it as easy as possible by attaching it to things you do already, like cleaning your teeth, drinking water, eating food, having a shower, etc., moving, running, walking, exercising. And then stage 3 is this creating, making the changes. And that's when the big changes might want to happen if they're still true for you. But it all happens in a spiral over and over again. Each time you tune in, you're going to discover something more. You're going to discover a new block. You might have been tuning in for 2 months and having amazing results because it's, you're letting go of stuff that doesn't work for you. You've naturally changed your boundaries with other people. You're not allowing people to drain you as much because you're really taking better care of yourself. You're more aware of your own energy and needs. That's kind of a natural progression. And then you might tune in and find, oh my God, this is just suddenly horrible because da 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 da. And then another block comes up, and each block is not bad. It's just information. It's something else that can be released. And this is a spiraling process of ever deepening, tuning in, listening, dealing with obstacles, letting stuff go, living more skillfully. And suddenly you notice there is more ease in your life. You're not pushing and striving and trying to be better. You really are starting to accept yourself. And that is powerful. And then you discover that you're really tuned in, that you are starting to make decisions that are better for you, quite naturally, because you are listening to your body, to your heart, not just to your naggy mind. This is powerful stuff. I urge you to download my free 1-minute tune-in, which will be followed up by lovely, supportive, helpful emails, which I'm finishing today, to help you embed this into your life and to give you a taste of what I offer. I'll put a link in the show notes, but also you can find it on Instagram. Instagram is the best place to follow me, where I put out helpful, inspiring content regularly. Get hold of that 1-minute tune-in. It works. And the reason it's 1 minute is a really good friend of mine, when I first introduced her to this, she said, I haven't got 3 minutes. Or I think it was 4 minutes. I think I'd made a 4-minute tune-in and I gave it to her. She said, no, I haven't got 4 minutes. It's too long. I need 1 minute. I said, really? So impatient. But because I'm quite impatient as well, I just thought, okay, for fun, let's see if I can do it. And I think it might even be 62 seconds, so it is slightly over. But anyway, I did it. It works. She uses it regularly. Lots of people use it. I want you to get your hands on it and use it, make this stuff work for you. You are important. I'm sending this out into the world with love for you and your life. And yeah, I just want things to be, I want you to tap into your own ease, your own empowered ease. I hope you're enjoying this podcast and finding it helpful. If you'd like to know more about how I work as a body mindfulness teacher and coach, you can go to my website, www.heidimark.co.uk, or you can follow me in the usual places, Facebook, Instagram, and more recently, YouTube channel. You can also book for a limited amount of time a free 30-minute coaching call by going to calendly.com/Heidi-ease.